YouTube, Little Chicken here. Feed Me Chicken has been expecting you. Here are his pickups.
Hello YouTube, I am Feed Me Chicken. How the clock are you? Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, hello. If you're returning, hello. If you like what you see today, please like, share and subscribe. But right now, you're here to see what I've got, so let's go. A few pickups from CEX now. So here we have Remember Me on the Xbox 360, paid £2. Complete, sadly the disc is badly scratched, but it does play. Next we have Stranger's Wrath on the original Xbox. Now I thought £5 for this in the condition it's in was actually a pretty good price. So I was well happy to see this copy and for that price. Next we have Sid on the dummy for the Wii. This game cost me 75p. Very expensive for the Wii. All jokes aside, this game has, certainly in its box art anyway, says there's quite a few gaming elements to this. So I'm kind of hoping this might be an underrated game. I do look forward to putting this in and having a good old time of my life with it. As far as I understand, I do believe there's a PlayStation 2 version of this as well. Whether that's any different graphically or any different in terms of gameplay, I couldn't tell you. But for 75p, I mean, can't really go wrong, can you? You got your story of good versus evil, a young dummy that wants to be doing something meaningful with his life. So yeah, as long as it doesn't take itself too seriously, which the introduction definitely shows it doesn't, it could be quite a fun game. Here again for the Wii we have The Blob. Now I have played this game. This game only cost me £1, and I think it's definitely worth the £1. Great multiplayer. I think the general gist of the story is that some evil people steal all the colour within this land. I don't know what the land's called, but as you can see, all the colour gets stolen. And it's up to you to restore the colour and to destroy the dictatorship that has become your homeland. Again, it is fun. The multiplayer reminds me a lot of Tony Hawk's Underground, believe it or not. The game modes are kind of like the same sort of game modes you would have, like Escape, for example, and painting the different territories. Again, single player mode is a lot of fun. It's enjoyable. Yeah, there's a lot of praise for this game, and if you haven't played it and you own a Wii, you should play it. Right, so the game that is being shown here is another Wii title, and this is what is labelled as the Poor Man's Pikmin. The game is called LDs, and it again cost me a whopping 75p. Now, I haven't played Pikmin. I can only go by what I have heard before. Essentially, LDs kind of plays the same as Pikmin from what I understand. But obviously, it's not Pikmin. I've played the tutorial, and the tutorial is very easygoing, which is nice for someone who hasn't played this type of game before. It's a very long introduction, but it does give you a backstory into what the LDs are supposed to be. And yeah, a game, I suppose really it's one of those ones that if you can play this game and enjoy it, then you won't feel like you're spending too much money on Pikmin, I suppose. Because as trends in games go, Pikmin is only going up in price. It doesn't seem to be coming down. Particularly not particularly, I mean it comes on the GameCube, but Pikmin is labelled as a great game. So surely if you can play LDs and get enjoyment out of that, then you're going to get enjoyment out of Pikmin. And the final game from CEX this month is Okami. And this is the Wii version once more. I think I went on a bit of a Wii bender with the games from CEX on the Wii. However, this game cost me £5. I do want to at some point have the PlayStation 2 version of this game, but I do feel that this game, if the controls are right, and I haven't played too much into it, but using the Wiimote, if it's been controlled, like programmed right, then being able to do the brush strokes to do what you need to do in this game should be quite enjoyable and should make the game flow and really should fit what the Wii is capable of. Everyone said it all before. I mean, you can just see it there. The visuals are crazy good, and even on the Wii they look good. It's unique, and yeah, it's not like any other game that you would have played before, and probably not like any other game you've played since. But Okami, well worth it. This is the first of 3 PlayStation 2 games that I bought off Facebook from Amy Sheldon for £10. So you got World War II Soldier. I couldn't get any footage for this because of copyright problems. The second game is Project Minerva. I just butchered that. Minerva. Anyway, I have seen YouTube footage of this game, and to be fair, the game looks dreadful. However, I did want to try this myself. At the time, I was looking at the footage for this game. I hadn't heard it before. I wasn't sure what it was. It appears to be like you're a lone soldier and it's up to you to kind of infiltrate the enemy base. Although when I was watching other people play it, it seems to be possibly a broken game. Again, sometimes you just have to buy a game to make your own decision on it. So I thought, well, 3 for £10 was alright, and I'll give it a go. the last of the 3 games is Warriors Orochi. This looks like a pretty busy game from the back cover. I quite like the look of this one. Looks like there's a lot of action, lots of enemies on the screen at once. I think this is one of the games where you can build up a combo. It again just looks good. It looks like it's got quite a few interesting mechanics about it, and yes, if the battle is not just repetitive, it's going to be one you can easily get into. Right, so this one is for the PlayStation 2. The game is Death by Degrees. It was a Facebook purchase from Joe Charlie George. I bought this for £12 all in, which was just under the eBay going price. Now, obviously, this is Nina from Tekken, her spin-off game. Apparently, the controls take a lot of getting used to. What I found mildly frustrating, I think, from watching the introduction that you're watching here, is that there's a lot of stop-starting between moves that she does. It's not quite as flowing as maybe a game of this nature should be. However, saying that, it does look like you've got your work cut out for you at times. There are definitely some very nice bone-breaking action going on. So, for a game that I haven't actually played yet, and I'm just going off of what I've read, what I've heard, and what I've seen, I still want to play the game. It still looks like it's going to kick ass. And I'm sure you can just overlook any flaws it might have. Now, this next game is a game that I bought off my drug dealer for £1. The game for the PlayStation 2, Cyvera. I tell you what, some of the games recently, I'm trying to pronounce them and I'm just absolutely butchering and murdering them. It's dreadful. If I remember this game correctly, this is a vertical shooter. I'm sure it's a vertical shooter. Again, as long as the mechanics in it are right, most vertical shooters are quite enjoyable. It's not going to hit the heights of Ikaruga for the GameCube or anything like that, but fun is fun. And the last game in this little section here, I've got from Cash Generator, £1.99, and this is Phineas and Ferb for the Wii. Now, to those who are not familiar with Phineas and Ferb, this is a fantastic cartoon series that goes on the Disney Channel. The music in this is absolutely fantastic. The writing for the series is amazing. The subplot, the way they build their characters, and that's just the cartoon. I'm quite happy to have this in the hopes that this game takes a lot from the series that they made. I believe the theme music was done, certainly for the cartoon series, was done for Bowling for Soup. So it kind of shows you or tells you kind of the level that they were at. Lots and lots of nods to this, that and the other in their programs. And again, it's just one of those games that if they programmed it well enough, it should be a blast to play. About £1.99. If it's no good, just move it on. It was me, my wife, our children. We all got into our car and embarked on a trip to Lincoln, where in Lincoln we split up and went our separate ways. This left me and my son free to go to Gotham Games, which sadly closed its doors the week after we visited. In Gotham Games, I purchased this, which was inlay and case only. I had the game already. It was 50p. This replaced my platinum case and inlay, which, to be honest with a PSP game, I cannot stand. Due to the fact that Gotham Games was sadly closing its doors the week after me and my son went in there, they were having a deal on the PlayStation 1 games. It was buy 3 for the price of 2. So, as you saw just a moment ago, was Area 51, which is a light gun game for the PlayStation 1. That was the game I got for free. It did not have its manual or its front inlay. The game you are currently seeing on screen is Gunfighter, another light gun game. This game was complete. This game was £5. And yeah, again, a game that I was very interested in getting. I do like my light gun shooters, sort of the style of Point Blank and Time Crisis. I don't think you can get enough of light gun games. All you got to make sure is that you got a dome shaped CRT, and as far as I'm concerned, you're good to go. I mean, I don't really see how you can own a PlayStation without a CRT, without your light guns, because they are just so much fun. And to anyone who hasn't played the games such as Point Blank and Time Crisis, I, along with many others, would highly recommend that you play those sorts of games, especially if you have a friend nearby. Great fun. And as you can see from this introduction, I think they took great time to kind of lure you into the start of the story. I like the style, the lack of colour, the kind of done in the image of what it would have been like back then with the wanted posters and silhouettes and stuff. And the final game is Rat Attack, and this was £3. So all I spent, all in all, across 3 PS1 games was £8. Can't go wrong, really. This game was also complete, which was lovely. This was in great condition as well. It's boot sale time. So there was a fairly new boot sale that opened up near me. So there was a guy with his car. He had his stall, which was full of stuff. However, I was only interested in the one box. Now this box had PlayStation 1 games in, about 8 of them. I asked him how much for the PS1 games. He said for the lot, £5. Now, most of them were just for cases, but here are the few that I kept. As I just mentioned, there was about 8 games that I got for £5, but I only kept 2, Monopoly being one of them. The other games, I kept the cases because the cases were absolutely immaculate, so they will go and serve me well and replace ones that need replacing. But Monopoly is just one of those games that you can lose so much time to. I own the Game Boy version, which I think is a great version of Monopoly. And yeah, I just think it's one of those games that just suits well in any collection, really. Yeah, it's always good for just a run around with your friends. Wholesome game. Now this became a game of interest for me. So I thought I already owned this game. And the reason that I kept it was because I wasn't sure whether my version had the maps. So took it home and compared it to my other one. And that's where the differences occurred. As you can see, the front inlay is different to the one that I bought at the boot sale. As I investigated further, the inside is different also, which leads me to question whether the games are the same game or whether they're different somehow. Lots more investigation needed. So right next to the guy selling the PlayStation 1 games was a woman, a man, with their car, with their stall, and they had a box of interest to me. It was PlayStation 2 games. Originally it was £2 each. So as I was pecking through the games, the woman perked up and said that you could have 3 for £5. So here's what I picked. So one of the first games that I pecked out from the box is a game called Battle Engine Aquila. I'm sure I butchered the name as well. From the back of the artwork, it looked like one of your bog standard shooters. From this intro, it definitely looks more interesting than the artwork, I've got to be honest. Kind of looks like a cross between maybe Metroid Prime on the Wii and kind of a Star Fox feel to it when it's in the sky. No, I like the art play, and it doesn't have that feel at all. That's what it looks like right now. So, but cheap and cheerful. You ain't gonna hear me complaining about it. Now, here's a game that I'm hoping goes far and beyond my expectations. The game in question is Hot Wheels World Race. Now, the reason I would like it to exceed my expectations is because growing up, it was all about the Matchbox cars, and then Hot Wheels came in kind of just after it. At least that's what my memory tells me anyway. So to have a game that I'm hoping is like going to be fast and frantic, but I'm hoping it doesn't have broken controls. I mean, the graphics from this introduction don't do it any harm. It was like you got a variety of characters with different personalities. But I'm just hoping that it comes through in the game. Again, I haven't had time to test it out yet. Obviously, I've tested it as far as the introduction, but as gameplay goes, might be something I try and put together so that you can see it as well. but the tracks look inventive. Definitely looks like it's had a few ideas from games previous to it. I can see elements of Wipeout, for example. Roll Cage looks like it's been influenced there, but yeah, Hot Wheels World Race. And the last game in my 3 for £5 is Grand Theft Auto Vice City Stories. Now, most people watching this will go, shouldn't you already own this? Yes, I already do. However, my copy was without a manual, and my copy had a very banged up, well used disc. The condition of these discs were very, very good. It was like some of them hadn't even been played. So to be able to replace my copy for next to nothing is a bonus. And I mean, who hasn't played Grand Theft Auto? I mean, I'm not too fond of its first incarnations on the PlayStation 1, but once it hit the PlayStation 2 and it had the graphics overhaul and it wasn't inverse controls, I really started to enjoy the Grand Theft series. So at this boot sale, there is a guy who is a regular reseller. I came across his pitch. He had his big white transit van, which is what most people with home clearance stuff usually have with them. And on the floor were the boxes full of shit. However, for £7.50, I pecked out some gaming items. So, first up on the PSP is Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell Essentials. Now, I played Splinter Cell on the original Xbox, and I own it on the 360, so to have it on the PSP is great. Next, Siphon Filter, Logan Shadow. Again, I have played Siphon Filter 1 on the PS1, and I own 2 and 3. I think I own a version on the PS2, so PSP version, another great addition. We have Turok on the original Xbox, Turok Evolution. Turok on the N64, Turok 2, I thought was a great game. I think I played Turok Wars as well, so another Turok game. Here we have Medal of Honor. I believe this is Medal of Honor Underground. Now, the great thing about Medal of Honor is that, certainly for me on the PlayStation, this was what first-person shooters were before, obviously, Modern Warfare took over the whole landscape. I did enjoy playing these when I first came into playing PlayStation 1 games, and to have this back in my collection, to be able to play again, will bring back a lot of memories, and will probably prove how crap I was at trying to play first-person shooters on the PlayStation. But yeah, Medal of Honor Underground. Now this one here I picked up is a repurchase simply because I was missing the rear inlay. So as you can see, my copy has the front inlay complete other than the rear inlay. So now it is. At this boot sale, there is also an indoor market. So at one of the stalls in the indoor market, I picked up this one, Viking. It cost me £2, and you can't say fairer than that. Xbox 360.